Check, check. Okay. Okay, so where were we? Last time we identified a bug in our cursor movement, or rather the camera movement. The cursor was fine. And we had gotten some basic unit moving functionality implemented. I haven't had time to think through the cursor camera problem yet, so I think tonight I want to tackle two things. First, I want to at least stub out the mechanic for making certain tiles unnavigable, or just make it such that you can't place a unit on some tiles. And then I think I want to stub out, if I have the time, the two-player game loop, because now that we can move a unit, it should be trivial to stub out player 1 moves a unit, player 2 moves a unit, etc. That shouldn't be all that hard. And then we could even, from there, go further and write the world's most primitive stub AI and just make it such that player 1 moves a unit, and then player 2, as the CPU, just moves any unit one space to the left or something. And then we'll actually have a working game loop, even though we won't really have a game, but we'll be able to sort of play our way through the levels. We'll actually need some mechanism whereby player 1 can attack the CPUs. But when we have that, we'll at least have, I would say, a walking skeleton of our game. It'll be devoid of the interesting mechanics, it'll be devoid of fun entirely, but it will function such that you could start from the start menu and technically play and win the game and reach the credit screen. So I think that's how I'll proceed tonight. And to get started here, let's take a look at the impassable tiles thing, because I don't think that should be all that difficult to implement. So my first instincts here are that I think for the time being, let's just dump this code directly in here. And back to the kind of roadmap, I think the plan is let's spend the next 2 or 3 sessions just kind of, bolting features onto this thing. And then probably the week after next or something, step back and take a look at refactoring some of this, because while the code is in reasonably good shape, it could be cleaner, and I have yet to write a unit test that does anything at all productive. But again, once we get to that kind of walking skeleton position, then I think we're in a good spot to step back and refactor based on what we've discovered about how the game loop will work. But anyway, before we get to that, let's make sure we're on the right branch. We are. I think there's only one branch. Yeah, okay. So we're on master, and let's make sure, again, our game didn't burn to the ground overnight somehow. Bit rot can be a real problem. Let's verify that this works. Click on this guy to move him. I can unselect. And let's double check, make sure I can't move this guy. Yeah, he's not getting selected. So that seems good. Yeah, that all seems pretty good. I thought a little bit more about how to graphically represent that a unit is being moved, and I haven't looked this up yet, but if I remember right, I think in Advance Wars or Fire Emblem, you get like a visual arrow. Like if I were to select the sky and then move up, you'd get a trail leading from where the unit is positioned to where the cursor is now. So we'll probably do something similar to that. We're not trying to plainly rip off Advance Wars or Fire Emblem here, but they're two of my favorite turn-based tactical games, and I think they did a lot right. And I think a lot of gamers are familiar with them, so I'm happy to borrow their design language, so to speak. But okay, that all works. So now, what do we need to do? I guess unit selection is unaffected. It's unit placement that we're looking to modify here. Really, it's about here. We need to ensure that the cursor's current position, or that the tile that the cursor is not currently on, is not impassable. And I'm using the term impassable somewhat incorrectly, because at least for tonight, when I say impassable, I really mean the player should not be able to place a unit on a tile, not pass through a tile. The pass-through logic will probably be more complicated, possibly significantly more complicated, depending on how we decide we want the game mechanics to work. So I'm going to ignore that now and just do the simplest thing. And here I'm looking at an API reference here. What we want to do is, in our sprite editor guy, Pick08 provides a flag mechanism that you can associate with sprites. And I've never used it before, but I think it's straightforward. And what I want to do is, again, for tonight, just say that you can't place a unit in the shallow or deep water. And it looks like I've already been toying with this. So let's say that flag 0 signifies an impassable tile. So we've set that flag on sprites 17 and 18, which are the water tiles. Now we just gotta find the API we need to call to look these up. I think it's this. So we aren't flying blind here. Let's go modify our debug function to output the state of flag 1 on the current tile. And we'll call that pass because that's what we're using this for. Oh, okay. Before we do that, we need to figure out how to look up the sprite beneath the cursor. I don't think I've done that yet. Pretty sure I have not. Okay. Alright. I think this is what we need here. I think I want to attach this value to the cursor. I'm pretty sure about that. Let's just do that. Say initialize this guy with sprite as 0, which is that meaningless transparent X. And then right in our update loop, let's just grab that. No, this has to come late. Right? We want it here. So within our update function, we want to allow the cursor to actually move and then capture the sprite beneath it currently. So it should be something like this. And then let's go back to our debug. I think it's something like that. Let's see what that does for us. Yeah, and this is specifically getting the map sprite. So, even though we have two sprites stacked here, we want to see... Wait a minute, what's this MSPR thing? Did I already do this? I already did this. Actually like MSPR better for the map sprite, so let's do this. I'd forgotten about that. I guess I did that weeks ago. Reload, MSPR, 133, 17. So 1 is grass, 17 is water, 33 is road. Is that right? 1, 17, 33. Okay, so that looks like that works. That's easy enough. And then now that we have that, we can get the flag associated with that sprite. I guess we'll just debug that for now. We'll probably want to refactor this into something more self-documenting or something later on, but I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead, so I don't want to bother with that. So we can do game.cursor.mspr, and we want to see the state of flag 0. I don't know if Lua's gonna convert this into something that I can treat as a string. We'll see. Nope. Attempt to concatenate a Boolean value. Okay, so it doesn't like this. Does that work? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. Sort of seems like it should. Maybe that'll work. Nope. Okay, that's fine. Alright, cool. And that looks like it works. So, passable is yes over ground and road, and it's no and water. think I do actually want to attach that to the cursor. Maybe we can attach that to the cell. I think that seems reasonable, right? So let's comment this out and comment this out. And change this implementation. Make this game.cursor.cell.sprite, and then MSPR goes away, and this becomes cell.sprite. Okay, that works. And then this, let's fix this and then refactor. This then becomes not MSPR but cell.sprite. So that works. Okay, good. That works. And then lastly, let's take this logic and throw it in here. That, I think. Let's see what that does for us. Oh, I'll refactor that in a minute. I want that to be a Boolean over there. Let's put that back. This should work, just gross. Nope. CLLL. Where did I type that? That works. Now refactor this. We don't want to track strings over here. We want to track strings over here. Game cursor.cell.pass. think we want that. Okay. That all looks like it works. That's cool. So we're on the grass, and we have map sprite 1 and passable, and we're on the water, and we have map sprite 17 and not passable, and on the road we have 33 and passable. So that looks pretty good. And then the last thing we want to do, I think we're done debugging. Now we can do this. I don't know if Lua has a way to break out of an if statement. It might have some. I don't want to use some label or something that smells like a go-to, but I guess I'll do this an ugly way. To avoid deep nesting, I like to just return early or whatever from functions when possible, but that's not an option here, so we'll do this a kind of a gross way now, and we'll probably refactor this later. So we only want to do everything that follows if the new cell is passable. So if self.cell.pass, then do all of this. Under there. I think that looks about right. So map sprite 1 pass yes, map sprite 17 pass no. That looks good. And let's try to move our blue guy to grass. That works. Road works. Can't move into the water. So that all works. That was great. Again, this is a stub, and it's entirely likely that in the real game we'll have, you know, flying units and ground units and water units and whatever, but just for the time being I wanted to get some recognition of this mechanic in place. Cool. Close this, run make. Again, the unit tests are all stubs, but the formatter and linter are actually running when I run make. Take a look at our diff. Let's edit that to now. Change our to-do, change flags associated with our sprites. We added a sprite and pass property to our cell table. We added logic to get the ID of the sprite beneath the cursor, and logic to determine if the cell is passable. Okay. Yeah, then we implemented the actual logic for impassable cells, and we updated our debugger. That all looks great. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. So now we want to implement the two-player game loop. So we're going to have to change a few things here. So when our screen updates, specifically when our battle screen updates, we need to track whose turn it is. And then in our cursor logic, we need to address a different units table depending on whose turn it is. Okay. And currently the only file that matters is the cursor file. I'm just checking to see where we're referencing player 1, and we're referencing it regarding it positioning in our map files, but we don't care about that. And that's not a real match. And this file is fine. The units draw method will draw every unit, but we don't need to change anything there. That's fine. So okay, so let's do, I guess the first thing to do is just we need to figure out where we want to store whose turn it is. On one hand, I feel like we could put that in the cursor. Because the cursor is the only data structure so far that actually cares about this information. So on one hand, it's sensible to store it here. I guess we'll put it here for now, and if we think of something more logical later, we can refactor. But this is ultimately kind of bike sheddy, so I don't want to lose momentum here. And I think I want to track this like this. Let's say turn equals the string p1, because I think what we're going to want to do probably is make these calls dynamic. Or, well, not calls. I think we want to make the way we address into this table dynamic. And then we're just swapping the value of this flag. So let's do this. Let's pull up our debug function again. And yeah, for the sake of not bike shedding ourselves, for the time being, let's just track game.cursor.turn, and we'll track that as a string p1 or p2. Maybe at some point in the future too, we might do something like p1, p2 for player 1, player 2, or p1, CPU if we're actually playing a computer opponent. That might work. I mean, that doesn't seem stupid, I don't think. So, okay, so first thing, let's do this. Game.cursor.turn. Make sure we got that right. No, we didn't. So turn player 1, okay. And then every pass through the update loop, we want to switch whose turn it is. Or rather, at the, I guess let's say at the end of every update loop. I think that's probably reasonable. So does Lua really not have a ternary? Let's first verify that this worked. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not right at all. So I forgot that update loop runs 30 or 60 times per second. That has nothing to do with... I'm thinking about that entirely wrong. Yeah, okay, so in Advance Wars, Fire Emblem, Valkyria Chronicles, whatever, ending a turn is an action that you explicitly must take. This gets a little complicated because we're running out of buttons, I think. Okay, so we need to make changing turns, something that needs to be an action that a user does with intention, that a player does with intention. We are out of buttons. The way we will ultimately want to solve this problem is the way every other game has solved this problem, and it's with a map menu that pops up and asks if you want to end your turn or whatever. I don't want to do that right now. So, for the time being, let's just disable our unit unselection functionality and make the Z button just end your turn. Yeah, don't want to think about any of that. This is all correct, logically. I just want to wrap that now in if button P4, then do it. Right? So player 1's turn, I end my turn on player 2, I end my turn on player 1, okay. So now we're handing control off to player 1 and player 2. And then, let's see, we'll document what we did later. And then currently we only have controls implemented for your own units currently. So you can click and move your own units, but you can't, for example, click on an enemy unit and view its danger radius or anything like that. So, if I'm not mistaken, this will be straightforward. Let's see. So instead of these references to P1, what we actually want are self.turn, because then we're going to dynamically find our way to the appropriate unit in the table. Or we're going to blow it up. What's this? Oh, probably this. Do I still need... I don't know how Lua works here. I don't need a dot, do I? That would be weird. Can't be that, can it? That doesn't seem like that would be right. Yeah. Line 82. Yep, okay. let's back out of this really quick. Get back to where it worked. Player 1, 2, 1, 2, okay. I want to commit this, so if I screw it up, I can just go back. Oh, shit. Hope I don't get DMCA'd by the over chiptunes here. Okay, that works. Oh, did I not? I might have just done a dumb thing. Let's see. I think I did a dumb thing. Yeah, I think so. I had forgotten to get rid of the leading dot. That's what that was. Okay. So I am player 1. Select a unit. Nope, I canceled my turn. I didn't mean to do that. Player 1. Select a unit. Move a unit. Select a unit. Move a unit. I go over to player 2's units. I can't move them. So we'll end player 1's turn. Select a unit. And he moved. Cool. And now ensure that I can't move player 1. Cannot. So I'll end player 2's turn. I'm player 1. I click a unit. I move them. Okay, great. That works. Super. I really like this this whole environment. Pick 08. You can do a lot with little code. It's a lot of fun. So now we're starting to ask almost more of a game design question, but I think I want it to be the case in this game such that a player can only move a maximum of 1 units per turn. I think I want that, and there are 2 reasons. Well, actually a few reasons. One is I've never seen that in a turn-based tactical game other than chess, which I guess you could consider a turn-based tactical game. 2, from a difficulty perspective, I think I'm a reasonably good tactical game player, and I feel like I can pretty commonly have the match won in 2 turns or whatever against the CPU, because when you're able to set your whole plan in motion without any resistance for 1 or 2 turns, or however long it takes to actually come into contact with the enemy, usually it's over by then if you play competently. And 3, this is looking ahead a little bit, but I think I would like to try to take this in a machine learning direction when it comes to programming the AI. I have no real idea what that entails presently, so maybe I'm living in a fantasy world here. But I think I would like to go that direction if it's possible, and I'm fairly confident that we're going to have more success training a neural net or whatever to competently move one unit at a time rather than all of them. It would just require too much computation, I think, to account for moving every unit in a turn. I don't know. I feel like we'd have better luck if we only require the AI to account for moving a single unit per turn. It seems like that must be a simpler problem, I assume. Plus, if we go that route, we can take a look at how things are done in the algorithmic chess world. And there's been a huge amount of work there that spans decades. And as someone who is new to game programming and more or less new to machine learning, I would like to be able to benefit from that work and research. So I think I want to go that direction. So if that's the case... Oh, the one thing though, I think I want to make it such that you can move a maximum of one unit per turn. But unlike chess, I don't want to force a movement per turn. I do want a player to be able to move no units. So... that means we might as well end a player's turn automatically after he moves a unit. Which is here. And for the time being, we'll do this. When we do that future refactoring I'm talking about, we'll dry that out a little bit. We'll try to get rid of this duplication and we'll move that off into a method or something. This kind of code would be an ideal entry point into writing proper unit tests because it's trivial and independent of the game loop. So, or rather can be easily extracted from the game loop and the Pico environment. So even though the logic here is not hard to understand, I might try to write a unit test for this first, just to figure out how to write unit tests for Pico 8, again given the apparent issue whereby the unit testing framework that I have, I think it expects you to use the Lua module packaging mechanisms that the language provides, but Lua, given that it only provides a subset of, Pico 8, given that it only provides a subset of Lua 5.2, doesn't support that mechanism, I don't think. So this will be a nice way to figure out how to resolve that apparent conflict. But let's reload this, and now when I move a guy, I should see my turn end. So I move him, and now I'm player 2 automatically, and I can't move this guy. And I move this guy, and I'm player 1 again, and maybe player 1 forfeits his turn, and I'm player 2 again, and I cannot move player 1, and I can move player 2. So that all works. That's great. Just to satisfy my own Lua curiosity here, what was this thing? Is there some way to feign a ternary? I see. I get it, but that's gonna read weird. I'll leave that alone. This is trivial to understand. Yeah, I don't want to get cute. I'll do that. Go doesn't have a ternary either, and it's fine. So, let's see. Okay, so let's verify what we implemented so far. In player 1, I select this unit. I can move them into grass. I'll forfeit player 2's turn. I'll select this unit. I'll try to move into the water, and I cannot, so I'll put them on the road. And on player 2, I select this unit, move them. I'll forfeit player 1's turn, try to move player 1, cannot. Cool. That's all great. That works pretty well. So now where are we? We still have that diagonal cursor movement bug, and I don't have a solution for that in my head, though we have identified the problem. We could animate units moving from cell to cell. we don't need to do this now or next, but we're almost at the point where we want a proper menu system. And we could drop that on the title screen, because right now, even to get through the title screen, I'm pressing a debug keycord, which is stupid. You know, that should be something like 1 player, 2 player, 1 player versus CPU or something. If we this is looking way ahead, but in the future too, if we find that we have enough space in the cartridge, I would like to try to make like a skirmish mode, which is either 1 or 2 players on an auto-generated map. I think that would be pretty cool. And I know Pickle 8 does provide mechanisms for writing to that space reserved for map data, so I think that's doable, and that would be very cool. But yeah, so next, broadly, we're looking at fixing our cursor bug, or camera bug, really. Or animating cell movement, or coming up with a mechanism for drawing movement, unit, and attack radius. And there, what I want is something, again, a lot like Fire Emblem or Advance Wars, where you click on a unit and you see some radius, that is the movement range, the unit's movement range, and then a wider radius, that's its attack range. I think that will be one of the more complicated parts of the project, at least for me, because again, I'm fairly new to graphical programming, at least not in a, at least outside of the web context. So I'm not really sure what I just have to think a while how to actually do that visualization math or whatever. And likewise, I think it might be a little bit tricky to actually draw these arrows the way we want to indicate unit movement. So I'm not really sure what we'll work on next, so I have to think for a little bit. And then we can always take another crack at the pixel art. I have another idea for something I want to try, because the first night did not go well. But I have no idea, I guess, now. Yeah. But I guess I'll call it there, because now I just need to think off camera for a day or two. There's a chance I will stream some open source work tomorrow, because I have some open source work I want to catch up on. My fear is that would be too boring, even by the standards of technical Twitch streams, just because there's nothing visual about systems programming in Go the way that there is with video game programming. So maybe I'll do that on camera, maybe I won't, I'm not sure. But either way, enjoy your weekends, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for hanging out.